government is going after red pill for male supremacy.
They got government-funded programs to get red pillars out of here and get them demonetized or whatever it is. On their scale, you'd be male supremacy.
No, you would.
In 2023, a CVE organization called Peril at America University was awarded $750,000 under the DHS TVT program to inoculate teens against extremism. This program is overseen by MSNBC columnist Cynthia Miller Idris. You may remember her from when she was recently flamed by Elon Musk for her article relating physical fitness to white supremacy. The grant proposal states...
So these are the people...
That's the people in charge.
That are in charge of this program. It's the same lady that said physical fitness is white supremacy. Somehow... they got this $750,000 grant to help teens not slide into quote-unquote extremism.
Short-form video inoculation strategies to interrupt pathways to violent extremism, and that Peril Peril's the organization, has teamed up with Google's Jigsaw and with media production company called Long Story Short Media to do this. Among the target populations for Peril program are content creators and social media influencers who are trained in the techniques of narrative storytelling, short-form video, evidence-based inoculation style scripting, and production. Also redacted from the application is the name of a YouTube influencer with 585,000 subscribers who agreed to support their project by producing and training others. Okay. Now, what are they targeting? Diverting Hate used something called the male supremacy scale to give each of these creators an extremism score. The goal of the DH campaign was to suppress the growth of targeted creators.
It's like a tier list for the red pill creators.
Yeah, and it's of targeted creators. Okay, now here's the shocking part about this is, scooch over a little bit. So these are their male supremacy scaled metrics. Okay, now there's guys on here that I'm not surprised by at all. Like I think Pearly Things definitely has a male supremacy. Like she thinks men are better than women. She said that she don't think women should be allowed to vote, right? Like Pearly Things is pretty far gone on here. You see Fresh and Fit. I would say they also have some pretty bizarre views towards women. You see Rollo Tomasi. But who I did not expect to see on here is the real MTR.
At the very top.
At the very top with a 92 male supremacy scaled metric. So again, MTR was close friends with Kevin Samuels. Kevin Samuels kind of spearheaded and made this mainstream. And then after it went mainstream, it kind of got really crazy. This connects to Christian creators indirectly. It can.
Oh, yeah.
Because they're intentionally trying to stifle the growth and get these channels demonetized. Now, Fresh and Fit and Pearly Things is already demonetized.
Yeah.
Right? But MTR is someone that has never caught a community guidelines strike. Ever. And when he responds and kind of reads the fine print of some of this stuff, and it's pretty crazy. Go ahead.
Read the next part, but I want you to read the names that are on this list on the left side.
Sandman, the real MTR.
You know who that is?
It's mediocre.
Yeah.
Legion of Men, Rational Male, Fresh and Fit Clips.
Oh, Fresh and Fit's in there?
Fresh and Fit Clips, man.
No, they got
That's
Fresh
why I laugh. Rich Cooper Channels, Just Pearly Things, Steph is Cold, Harold Clary, Araco
I don't know
TV,
half of these guys.
21 Studios.
DH notes that they were unable to run the campaign on a few of their planned targets due to YouTube demonetization. So it means that these people are getting money together to try to get these people demonetized or using government-funded programs to do so. Later in the report, they claim that demonetization doesn't slow the growth of large channels, and they use it to advocate for demonetizing creators when they're still small and unable to fight back. Okay, I can tell you this right now. Demonetization absolutely hurts the growth of channels.
Yeah.
Look at all the channels that got demonetized, and I can assure you they've lost a lot of their luster, a lot of their will to even upload, and their reach. Go look at it. You'll notice there's a precipitous dive, and it's normal because...
So shout out to Bob and Preach for bringing this to our attention. I want to go to MTR's response because he gets into the meat and potatoes of what is actually being claimed here, right? And the conclusions. And it's this subtle hint of manipulation of words and language that we have to be careful of, because today it's the red pill. Tomorrow, if Christian creators go bigger, they could use the same sort of language against Christian creators.
The report aims to equip practitioners, men's community, and well-being organizations, policymakers, and VLOPs with the knowledge needed to counteract the destructive effects of normalized violence within the manosphere. Really? Normalized violence. You know, the first thing that I thought about when I thought about this term normalized violence is I thought back to the case of that woman that claimed that she was hit in the face with a brick, and she would often describe that anyone who didn't believe her as being violent against her. By the way, GoFundMe ended up taking down her page where she earned almost
So he's talking about the woman that had the swollen face, and then it was exposed that none of that actually happened. So it was like an allergic reaction, and she was never attacked. And she said if people didn't believe her, they were being violent against her.
But she was being a con artist.
So she was being a con artist. So when people say normalize violence, as far as I know, MTR, who's at the top of that list, has never, ever promoted violence of any kind. So what we're doing is we're now doing a subtle change of hand with language.
Yikes.
Now, if you aren't pro-feminist self-actualization of women under any rights, if you're not pro-choice, if you're not pro this, if you're not pro that, you're now normalizing violence. Not physical violence, not actual violence, but words are violence. Silence is violence. This is scary stuff for creators, right? Now, again, guys, in terms of the red pill, I've debated Rollo Tomassi from the Rational Male. I don't like a lot of what Fresh and Fit has said, done. I think their ideologies is bizarre and dark. And the funny thing is when you look at the fine paperwork of what they're trying to address, it is literally the thing that I pointed out to Rollo in my debate with him in the most egregious part of this paradigm.
Together with the Polarization and Extremism Research Innovation Lab, acronym PARO, at American University, which I believe is in DC, we conducted a case study to investigate the viability of executing effective diversion campaigns. Yes, you read that correct. Effective diversion campaigns aimed at a range of male supremacist YouTube influencers who are prominent within the manosphere. So essentially, they're taking tax dollars and they're reinvesting that into running ad campaigns on my videos that after you watch one of my videos, you'll see one of their approved vendors. But what?
I mean, the fact that they're using government funds to do this is crazy.
So, yeah, whose funds are that? Is that tax dollars?
Yes, these are tax dollars. It's an NGO.
This is why I'm moving to Puerto Rico.
This is crazy stuff. Okay, so as you go down, you're gonna find one specific thing, and this was this has always been the crux of my issue with the red pill, and I don't know if MTR even holds to this.
The scale was developed as a tool to understand, define, and quantify the phenomenon of contemporary male supremacy, specifically in the context of online platforms. The male supremacy scale is a 15-point scale to measure male supremacy broken into 3 subscales: anti-feminism, female dishonesty in relationships, and women like alphas.
Women like alphas. Okay, anti-feminism explores how the participants feel about feminism and feminists in general, and more specifically, the role feminism has in society. There's a lot of overlap with feminism today and gender ideology. A lot of overlap with feminism today and the pro-choice movement.
Yep.
So if you have an issue with modern day feminism, then you could be labeled an extremist and a radical. That's dangerous. That's dangerous for Catholics. That's dangerous for conservative Christians. That's dangerous for pretty much everybody that's not in this crazy leftist radical paradigm. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Female dishonesty in relationships highlights the view that women are not able to be faithful in a relationship and are by nature dishonest. Women like alphas is based on hypergamy and the values that men of the manosphere project onto women and determine if participants feel that women are only interested in high status masculine men. Now, this has always been my biggest issue with the red pill. In Rollo Tomassi's Rational Male book, in my conversation with Michael Sarantine and in Rollo, I said, this is where you guys went off the rails because you've created a new form of original sin for women. Alpha lays, beta pays. Women are incapable of being faithful in relationships by nature. So what is original sin? What is depravity? You are sinful by nature. You've just created another layer of women being sinful by nature. Their nature is to let the alpha smash and then let the beta sneak in and trick the beta into raising the kid. Rollo has a whole section in his book talking about this is why the wife will let the pool boy have with her so that she can then trick the dad. Like, they believe this about women's nature, and it's based on a very, 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 very limited test that I pointed this out to Rollo to his face. You guys can go watch it. And it's a test on women who are fertile, preferring the t-shirt smells of men who are more alpha versus when they're infertile, preferring the t-shirt smell of betas. It's complete nonsense, and it's been rejected by Dr. Andrew Huberman and the majority of the scientific community. It is not true. The issue here is this is not science. And they slid into this, and now this goes beyond addressing women's behavior, which is how MTR does, addressing women's when women sin specifically, and this is slid into women are deplorable and depraved in a unique way. That is the biggest lie of the red pill, and that is the biggest indictment against the red pill. And again, I don't even think MTR holds to this. Like, MTR doesn't call himself red pill. MTR doesn't call himself manosphere.
Yeah.
Right? I don't even know if Kevin Samuels held to this stuff, but it's the folks in the Rollo Tomasi fresh and fit aspect, pearly things. They definitely hold to this. And so I think let me play a little bit more of MTR's video. So I think this is crazy that they came down on him for this.
5 sub-bullets underneath each point. Now, they actually go through and describe each of these 3 buckets. I'll read the first one. Anti-feminism and feminist in general. So by nature of this study, they're essentially saying, if you do not agree with feminists or those within the feminist movement, you are bad. As if there's not destructive messages that are pushed because of feminist rhetoric and ideology. See, I agree with the early starts of feminism that wanted equality of opportunity. If I had a daughter, I would want her to be all that she can be, to have the same opportunities as her male counterparts. I believe and I ride for this degree of feminism, but I do not agree and ride for what it's turned into. This idea that you're walking around oppressed by men is absolutely insane in modern times today. I do not agree with the components of feminism that allows biologically born men to compete in women's sports.
Okay, so these are all things that Christians would agree with him on.
Yeah.
These are all things that sensible, reasonable people would agree with him on. I don't know where he is on hypergamy. That's by far the most egregious. And generally speaking, I think content that is made from the framework of just being against something is not going to be helpful in pushing anything forward. That, I think, is the underlying of the red pill, is if you go to any of these channels, and some of MTR's content is this, it's just women interviewed. Would a woman, if a woman's in the woods, would she rather be with a man or with a bear? And they literally go and interview women, and like, we all laugh that women choose bears over men, right? Like, that's the kind of content that like he's reacting to. And I think he's one of the more mild voices in aligned with this paradigm, but to now create an entire NGO to go after these creators, I think is really, 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 really dangerous. And I think it's going to have consequences from anyone that could potentially be lumped into these groups. And I tried to help him. I really did. Not him. I tried to help the Rollos. I tried to help that world. Like, yo, you guys are off on this. Like, this is wrong. This is scientifically wrong. Dual mating strategies, alpha lays, beta pays, women's hypergamy, all of this is not scientific. You've created a different category for women's original depravity, and that is not without consequence. Hey, thank you so much for checking out the video. Comment down below and let me know what you think. And be sure to check out this video that YouTube is recommending just for you. Let me know if they nailed it. All right? I'll see you over there. Peace.